Hello crafty friends, it's Sharon Luska here for My Crafty Greetings, and we're here on another Team Tiny Hop for all shook up, yes you bet, it's shaker cards. Now I've got this printed paper here. It is long enough for a 7.5 inch card, but it is way too wide for a 5 inch card. So what I'm doing here is adding some pleats into the paper at very specific points, avoiding going over top of any of my images. We're going to cut those out with an X-Acto knife, or I don't know what this tool's called, but it works better than the X-Acto knife to the right of me because that thing's done. So I just rotate my knife around here. I'm only using the back of the pad that the paper came in, and I'm only cutting as far as the second fold line here. Don't worry about getting them too exact because we're going to be doing some more trimming once we get them popped up and reinforce these fold lines here. Now, if you have joined us for the Team Tiny Hop, you maybe have been here before, or maybe it's your first time. We're a bunch of small channels that work by a hashtag, and yes, you bet, the hashtag's in my title. If you want to push that, it'll give you a full list of all my friends on this hop. We're all small channels, so we're commercial-free content, and you will not get sold anything here but a brand new card-making idea. Yes, you bet, we're going to make channel cards here. Channel shaker cards, to be specific. Now this card here is going to be a faux channel because we have a special piece cut just to go around the back of the card and hide the plastic works that are going to be holding up the sides of the shaker. And I went in here and did a little bit of extra detail cutting just to make sure that when I lay these out, people don't think a kindergartner did it. Although I'm sure there's some kindergartners out there that do a pretty darn good job cutting paper. Well, anyways, I'm going to spare you the misery of having to watch me cut, and I'm going to cut myself out a piece of acetate. Now luckily I took my trusty little piece there and checked it and realized that it was far too small for what I needed. Now to calculate your acetate size, you're going to take the channel back width, which is 1.5 inches, add a 1/4 inch for each side, which is another 1/2 inch, so that's 2 inches, and then a 1/2 inch of wraparound would be a safe amount to have. The 1/4 inch that I've come up with matches the channels that we've already scored and pre-folded into the decorative pieces of paper that we're going to be using for each side of the card. As you can see, I'm bending this around, and this is almost going to start to look like an acetate box of sorts. I did make a mistake though in calculating the length for 7.5 inches. I was not paying attention. 7.5 inches plus 2 1/4 inch channel ends would have been 8 inches, and I should have only done a 1/4 inch wraparound on each end. And instead, I did a little bit longer than that. I think I might have done a 3/4 inch on one end and was left short on the other, as you can see here. Quite short. So we're going to do a little MacGyvering here, and I'm going to take 1/4 inch back and make it a tiny bit shorter by 1/8 inch actually. And I'm going to end up scoring that backer piece of paper to fold against this channel end that is not going to have the ability to wrap around. You'll see that later on in the video. Now what you're going to do is you're going to cut out the sides. These little corner pieces are not needed, but you are going to slice down in to leave like little box flaps. They'll look like little tiny ears that can move backwards and forwards from the side walls of the channel. And we're going to tuck them in just to make sure that no glitter goes sneaking out the sides. And you can see here how I'm shortening them so that they're less obvious. And I'm also taking out these extra pieces here from around the back because once we fold them around the decorative paper or the printed paper, you're not going to be able to hide them anywhere. And I've slowed this down so that you can see how these little tabs are going to fold in. You're going to fold your sides in, and then you're going to fold your end over. And it's almost like a box, except for you can see through the acetate there that there's nothing on the back of it. So I'm cutting here at an angle with the two pieces overlapping so that once we wrap them around the backer piece, that they'll be mitered together quite nicely. Now this is to make up for that little mistake I made because we're going to be folding those ends over. And now I'm going to be adding some ATG to the side flap and also to the channel. And I'm taking my backer piece and being very careful to match it up with that fold line that is going to be going around the back of the backer piece. Now this time I'm going to be adding ATG to the back of the backer piece. And I'm just going to shape this acetate here. A good quality acetate for this is going to be a little bit thicker and also a little bit stiffer, so you're going to be reinforcing folds a lot. Once you put something inside, which could be a ruler or whatever you like, that'll allow you to have some pressure to fold it down onto that backer piece. And you can see here, this is almost like a box that you'd get some fancy chocolates in. Now granted, they'd be much flatter and much smaller than anything I would eat, but if you weren't a chocolate fancier, you probably would be able to get some of those nice Belgian wafers in here. So I'm putting my little pieces of acrylic here in the back and allowing myself to wrap that around and firmly push it in place. Now I'm dry fitting the end that I mucked up here, and we're just folding flap over flap, flap of paper together with flap of acetate. So here's how we're going to attach our channel walls. We're going to be adding ATG, and yes, the cutouts are there, but with the backer piece you're never going to see them, and it'll give you a nice U-shaped shaker channel where the paper looks like it's continuous. We're going to line that up against that score line that you already have in place. So part of this paper will be stuck to the back of the channel, and we're going to rock it forward and stick it to the side of the channel. And then once we reinforce that adhesion, we're going to rock it forward one more time, and we're going to stick all these fussy cut details that we're extending out from our decorative elements. We're going to stick those onto the front of the acetate. And with this glue, I recommend to hold it just for a little bit. So I'm going to repeat this again for the second side, adding ATG all over all of the pieces that are going to be folding around, excluding your detail pieces, which are going to be attached to the front. We attach it to the back, rock it up onto the side of the channel, and flip it to the front. And now we've got that glued in place. I've already put some gold seed beads in here, and this is some mica glitter. I think we might need a little bit more of that. And then I have some clear iridescent sequins here. We're going to add in some shiny discs, flowers, you name it, whatever you like to fill your shaker card up with, go ahead and add it in. So just quickly too, with Team Tiny, since you are watching our Team Tiny Hop video, we are a hop that takes place once a month for small channels. Our organizer is Catherine Kelly. She's our fearless leader and keeps everything on track with this group of lovely ladies. And if you are interested in joining, please go ahead and leave me some information in the comments below. I'll make sure that you're put in contact with her. And as you hop along, would you do me a big favor and give some love to the rest of my teammates? They're awesome people and they work so hard and love this industry just as much as I do. So now I've trimmed this extra little piece of paper where we ended up short to hide it a bit. And I cut myself a little bit of decorative washi tape just to cover it over. Now ideally, if you planned a little ahead, unlike I did, you would have this all measured out so that you didn't have to do the same thing I've done. So what I'm doing here is taking some of my packing foam sheets, and I've put some Xyron sticker runner. I don't put it in the actual machine itself. I just snap the roll off the refills and use it like a giant sheet of stick-it tape, I guess if you will call it. So add a double layer. It is about the thickness of one of the thicker kind of foam tapes, but it's much lighter weight and it's much more forgiving. Now I'm going to add some glue on top of that to glue it to my card base. My card base is a 5x7.5 white card base with a black panel already glued in place. And I'm adding a little bit of art glitter glue onto the paper pieces that are going to be adhering to the card. And this card specifically has a boat out front to accentuate that channel shaker that we have. and then the sides are going to be glued flat down to the card itself. I have a piece of grosgrain ribbon here. Ribbon. I don't know what pronunciation that was, but it sounded fancy. You're going to take your grosgrain ribbon and pull the threads out of the ends to make it look a little tassely. Then I'm going to take a little bit of ATG glue here and run that on the back. And of course, we all know ATG absolutely loves to stick to acetate as well as decorative paper. And I'm taking a little bit of thread here, gold thread, and I've run that around in a bunch of different loops. And then I have a Celebrate here. I believe it's from Pink and Main. I'll try and flash it up on the screen here, so if I'm wrong, sorry. I'm poking that in place and showing you the dies here. And there's our faux backed channel shaker card. Now, if you wanted to finagle something to cover up those ends, you could absolutely do it. Or if you wanted the ends to sit straight out, you could put up a whack of foam tape and make them sit up higher, or foam sheets, whatever you like. So I'm just going to show you quickly a true channel card. So basically, we're going to make two U-shaped channels. One U-shape out of the paper, and this is one of the things that you can do too if you have a piece of paper that already has a design on it that's slightly too wide for your card. You can always take and score in the center a channel that uses up a little bit of the card width. So in this case here, the channel is going to be a 1/4 inch deep on each side, which uses up an actual 1/2 inch of width from this paper. So not surprisingly, this channel is a 1/2 inch, or sorry, a 1/4 inch wide and a 1/4 inch deep. And the cuts on the paper, or sorry, not the cuts, the folds on the paper are a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch. So we're just cutting the side pieces here to make this look like a little kind of box end. I don't know if you've ever had Smarties. Smarties used to have the fold-in tab at the end, and you'd have to fold the little side flaps in. So I've got my little side flaps in, and I've got the little end piece tucked in place here. Just making sure that I form this into a nice true squared shape, and I've got tape on all of my sides. I've lined it up, and I'm popping the first fold of paper onto the side of the channel. Now I'm going to pull my tab and my end into place so that that one's already tucked and ready to receive our shaking material. And I'm bending this side around. It's already got the tape exposed. I didn't have score tape, so this is just two-sided tape. Hopefully anybody who gets this card is not a strong shaker, because they're gonna find out that they're special people, but specially covered in glitter. So I just stuck a pen in here to be able to squeeze it hard onto the paper. And I have a few little gems that I have no idea where I got them. I love them though. They're really funky looking. And so I'm just smattering those around the card with the "You Are the Best" sentiment. And I'm putting on a little bit of glossy accents, and that's this true shaker card finished. Now you can make that channel go from one end to the other on the channel you've actually got, or you can do a few smaller channels and place that inside the paper, whatever you like to do and whatever size you like to do it. Give this a try. It is a neat, unique, and different way of making cards. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you'll push that red button and subscribe. Don't forget, if you'd like to, leave me a comment too. That'd be wonderful. Have a great day. Bye.